Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am RegretfulTurtle and I am here to show you on how to make this Lego head illustration. Alright, so let's get started. So first off, we're going to go ahead and create our stroke layer. I already went ahead and made it a layer and called it stroke. And then we're going to go ahead and make a square. And then we're going to go ahead and give that square a 10-point stroke. And then we're going to go ahead and grab our corner tool. And before we do that, we go ahead and make this square a little bit wider than taller, and then we go ahead and grab our corner tool, C on the keyboard, and then grab all four corners and then just round them out. And all you do is just put your mouse to the center and it'll round them out. And then go ahead and make another square or rectangle and put it on the top of the Lego head, and that way we can go ahead and it's gonna be that little piece of the Lego head that that you could put hats and stuff on. And then we're gonna go ahead and just make the middle part of it. We're gonna go ahead and curve it up, and then we're gonna go ahead and curve out those top corners, and then we're gonna go ahead and grab that square and duplicate it and then put it on the bottom and then make it a little bit not as tall. We're gonna make it shorter, and then we're gonna just make it a little bit more curved outwards and grab those corners again, holding shift, and grab both corners, and we're just gonna round them out a little bit more so they're a bit more rounded than what they previously were. And we're just gonna go ahead and make it a little bit shorter, so because just want to make it not super like wow long, because it's not how it really was. The Lego heads really aren't like that. And so we're just gonna go ahead and make a few minor adjustments to our main head. We're gonna go ahead and make it shorter, and then we're gonna go ahead and bring down the top part of the head, and then the bottom part we're gonna go ahead and bring it up. And now we're gonna go ahead and create a line on the head, and we're gonna go make it really thin, and we're gonna curve it downward by grabbing the middle of it and just going ahead and dragging your mouse down. And then we're gonna make it thinner by using the stroke pressure property in Affinity Designer. And we're gonna go ahead and break this line apart. And by doing that, we're gonna add a few points and then break it apart through the corner tool, and the point tool on the top part of your Affinity Designer. And then what we're gonna go ahead and the reason why I added this was because if you look at a Lego head, they have like this little line, like a line like that on the heads. It's not like super noticeable, but it is there. And now what we're gonna do is go ahead and play with the stroke pressures of our top and bottom portions of the Lego head to add a little bit more oomph to the illustration. And go ahead and create your stroke pressure the way I'm doing it, to make it look kind of thin on the edges and more thicker on the top. So if you want, you go ahead and pause the video and move it the way I do it, or you could experiment on your own and figure out what works best for you. And then we're gonna go ahead and do the same thing with the bottom. We're gonna go ahead and just make that a preset, and then apply that preset to the bottom part of the rectangle of the head as well. And now we're gonna go ahead and create two ellipses for the eyes. So just circles for the eyes of the Lego. And then we're gonna go ahead and group them together, and then we're gonna go ahead and put them in the middle of our head, of our main head. And then now after that, we're gonna go ahead and just play with the head a bit more, make it more rounded. I figured it wasn't rounded enough. I was looking at a reference off of the screen of a Lego head, so I'm trying to make it true to Legos, so it looks like a Lego head. And then now we're gonna go ahead and make the mustache of this Lego. We're adding some mustache to it. We're gonna go ahead and make a right triangle, and then curve it out a little bit on one of the edges, and then make it longer by grabbing the point and then just dragging it out, and then duplicating it and rotating it, and then putting them together, grabbing all of those things and get rid of the stroke, and then we're gonna go ahead and fill it up with the color black. And then we're just gonna grab our mustache and then just make it a little bit more curved on the bottom, and then bringing them in a little bit more, and then bring the eyes in a little bit as well, make them a bit smaller. And then we eventually just grab everything and then just kind of center it within the head, and make minor adjustments to make it look like the Lego reference I was looking at. And now we're gonna go ahead and create the mouth, and by doing that, we'll go ahead and make a circle, and we'll do a 10-point stroke and get rid of our stroke pressure that we had, and so it's all even all around. And what we're gonna do is create this circle to to curves, and then break it apart and get rid of certain get rid of the endpoints, and then add more points to the bottom and get rid of the endpoints. That way it's a pretty uniform smile, and it's not like all janky and wobbly. So yeah, and for the face, you can make any face you want. Honestly, this is your illustration. Like I always say, your illustration, experiment with what you like and with what you want, and then just, you know, make it your own. Don't just follow this tutorial. This tutorial is just kind of to give you an idea and kind of show you how I do it, how the process is to get to the point where I do without needing to sketch, because we don't want to sketch here, because, you know, not everyone could sketch, including me. I suck at sketching, and so that's why I don't sketch. I just enjoy making it straight up like this. And so we just make some minor adjustments to our illustration before we go ahead and move on and do the colors. So here we are. We're gonna go make the head a little bit taller again, just because I felt like it was too long instead of tall. You know, it didn't seem right, and so we just make the whole face a bit smaller. And then we're just gonna grab it and then just put everything, you know, in the middle of the head, so it looks pretty symmetrical and uniform. You know what I'm saying? All right, know what I'm saying? So we're just gonna go ahead and, like I said, minor adjustments. So we just keep looking at that. And then now once we got all that finished, it looks pretty good to me. So we're gonna move on and duplicate our layer and call it color. And then we're gonna lock our stroke layer, and then we're gonna go delete any unnecessary details that we don't need. All we need are the main shapes, so we can fill it in with color relatively quickly. So how we do that is grab the main head shape, turn it into yellow, go into our CMYK colors and add some orange to this yellow. Not too much orange, about 18 is good orange. It's still pretty yellow, but it's not just yellow. You know, it's got some orange in it, like a real Lego head does. It has a little bit of orange. It's not yellow. And we grab the top and bottom pieces of the Lego head and do the same thing. Just fill it in with the same colors and get rid of the strokes. And then now we're going to create a new layer for our shadows, and we'll call it shadows. And now we're just going to go ahead and use our pen tool and create a rectangle on the bottom part of the Lego head. And now we're going to grab one side of the rectangle and bring it down so it's diagonal, and we're going to curve it up like so. And for our shadow color, we're going to go ahead and turn it into a dark red, like a red, but almost black red. So very dark red, and just lower the opacity about 50%, 75%, and play with the curve of the shadow a little bit, because, you know, the bottom of the shadow, the head is kind of doing, you know, it's kind of blocking that part, so it's creating a shadow. And now we're doing the same process with the top of the head. Same process, create a rectangle, turn it into that dark red, the same color that we used for the bottom shadow, and just curve it up and then bring down the points a little bit and just make some minor tweaks so it looks pretty good and so it doesn't look too weird. Alright, I mean, the process is the same in every illustration, honestly. Make any illustration, the process is the same. It's the same process. Sometimes it's a little bit more difficult, sometimes it's not. And so now we're making a shadow for the main head, and what we're doing is pretty much, again, make a rectangle, add a point to the corner, and throw that corner all the way down to the bottom right corner. And we're just bringing down our points a little bit more and curving it down. And then that corner that we had, we just turned it into instead of a corner point, we turned it into a curved point. And again, just turn it into this dark red shadow that we have going on here, and lower the opacity about 50-75%, depending on how much shadow you want on this illustration, and then just tweak your points a little bit so it looks good, you know, to whatever looks good to you. This looks good to me. I thought it looked good, so we're just gonna go ahead and move on to our next process, our next step, the next step, which is to create another little shadow on the top left corner of the Lego illustration. So all we did was just create 3 points like that to make a boomerang shape, and then just the pressures, we're going to make the edges of that stroke thinner and the middle thicker, and then that corner point turn it into a regular curved point. And now we're doing our highlights. Make another layer, call it highlights, and then on top of the head we're just making a straight line with our stroke pressures settings still the way we have it, thin on the edges, thicker in the middle, and then now we're gonna curve it up, and then we're gonna go ahead and turn it into the yellow. But then that yellow, we're gonna go ahead and make it almost white, and then higher the opacity to almost full opacity. And now you got a highlight on top of the head. And then now we're gonna go ahead and add another highlight onto the right hand side of the illustration. And so we'll just make a straight line, curve it to the right, and then play with our stroke pressures and play with the lightness of the highlight. And then we're gonna go ahead and make another little highlight on the bottom of that line right there, and then we're just gonna make a straight line and leave it at that, and then lower the opacity because it's not gonna be as strong. And then we're making another highlight, same process, but we're gonna make the middle thinner so it's not as thick, and then make it a little bit lighter than that last highlight we made. So that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. So please like and subscribe, and I'll see you later. Peace!